When I first met Brandon, I thought I'd finally found someone who was different. He wasn't like the other guys I dated, the ones who played games, ghosted, or strung me along until they got bored. He seemed mature, steady, and genuinely interested in building something real. He was funny in that dry, sarcastic way that made me laugh harder than I wanted to admit, and he had this calm energy that made me feel grounded when I was around him. After years of chaotic relationships, that calmness felt almost addictive. But the beginning of our story wasn't smooth. From the start, there was a shadow I couldn't quite shake. The way he'd occasionally make comments about traditional values and the importance of loyalty. He never said it outright at first, but I knew he cared about things most modern guys don't talk about anymore. Things like modesty. Things like body count. And that made me nervous. Because my past wasn't modest. Not at all. In college, I was wild. I drank too much, I stayed out too late, and I let myself get swept up in hookups I barely remembered the next day. I wasn't proud of it, but I also wasn't exactly ashamed at the time either. It was just what everyone around me seemed to be doing. I told myself it was normal, part of living my 20s, and that someday it wouldn't matter. But deep down, I knew that if the wrong person asked too many questions, the truth could blow everything up. So when Brandon and I started dating, I downplayed it. When the topic of past relationships came up, I brushed it off with vague jokes. Oh, I've had my fun, I'd say, changing the subject. He didn't push. At least, not right away. One night, about 3 months in, we were lying in bed after watching a movie, the glow from the screen still lingering on the walls. Brandon turned to me and asked casually, "So, how many guys have you actually been with?" My heart stopped. I laughed it off at first. Really? You're one of those guys? He raised an eyebrow. One of those guys? The kind who thinks a number means something, I said, rolling my eyes. Men who care about body count are weak. I said it with so much confidence, like I was daring him to challenge me. I wanted to make him feel like it was ridiculous to even ask, like he was outdated and insecure for bringing it up. But instead of backing down, he went quiet. Maybe, he said slowly, or maybe it's just about wanting to know the person I'm with values intimacy the same way I do. I scoffed. So if the number's too high, what? You're gonna run? That's pathetic. He didn't argue. He just rolled onto his back, staring at the ceiling, and the silence between us grew heavy. That was the beginning of the end. After that night, Brandon never looked at me quite the same. He didn't break up with me immediately, but something in his eyes had shifted. The warmth was still there, but it was guarded. When we were around his friends, I started to notice little things. The way they looked at me when I laughed too loud. The way conversations felt quiet when I mentioned anything about my past. I didn't know it at the time, but Brandon had told one of his closest friends what I'd said that night. That friend told another. Soon, the whole circle knew. She thinks body count doesn't matter, one of them joked once when I walked into the room. They laughed. I laughed too, pretending not to feel the sting. But inside, I wanted to crawl out of my skin. It only got worse from there. I tried to overcompensate, to prove I was more than my past. I cooked for him, cleaned his apartment, went out of my way to show him how loyal and caring I could be. But every time his phone buzzed and he looked down with a tight expression, I knew. His friends were talking. They were probably making jokes at my expense, telling him he could do better. One night, I overheard it for myself. We were out at a bar with his group, and I went to the bathroom. As I was walking back, I heard one of them laugh and say, "Bro, she belongs to the streets." You know that, right? My chest tightened. When I sat back down, Brandon avoided my eyes. He didn't defend me. He didn't say a word. That was the night I realized the damage was permanent. Not long after, he ended it. He didn't yell. He didn't accuse me of anything. He just sat me down in his kitchen, folded his hands, and said, "I don't think this is going to work. I need to be with someone who shares my values." I tried to argue. I begged him to see me for who I was now, not who I used to be. I reminded him of the nights we stayed up until dawn talking, the weekends we spent cooking together, the plans we made for the future. But none of it mattered. The decision had already been made. He walked me to the door, kissed my forehead, and said, "I hope you find what you're looking for." And then he closed the door behind me. I thought the heartbreak would be the worst part. But I was wrong. The worst part was what came after. Word spread. I don't know how exactly, but it did. Suddenly, it felt like everyone in our social circle knew. Guys I barely knew looked at me with smirks that made my stomach turn. Girls whispered when I walked into rooms. Someone even sent me a screenshot from a group chat where Brandon's friends had joked about me like I was nothing more than a cautionary tale. She said body count doesn't matter. Guess she's just proving it, one message read. I blocked the number, deleted the chat, but the words stuck. Dating after Brandon was impossible. Every time I met someone new, I felt like I was being interrogated. "So, what's your past like?" guys would ask with casual smiles that weren't casual at all. If I tried to dodge the question, they pushed. If I answered honestly, I could see the shift in their expression. The same guarded look Brandon had given me. It got to the point where I stopped trying. I told myself I was focusing on my career, on self-improvement, on healing. But really, I was hiding. Hiding from the fact that my own words had become a weapon against me. I called men weak for caring about body count, but what I really did was show Brandon I had something to hide. Instead of being honest, instead of saying, "Yes, my past is messy, but I'm not that person anymore," I mocked him for caring. I dismissed his feelings. I acted like his standards were a flaw instead of admitting my own insecurity. And now, here I am at 29, sitting alone on my couch on a Friday night, scrolling through photos of him with someone new. She's beautiful in that effortless way I'll never be. Polished. Elegant. The kind of woman who probably never had to lie about her past because she didn't have one worth hiding. The comments under their pictures sting the most. Perfect couple. She's such a catch. You two are goals. I can't stop myself from reading them, even though every word feels like salt in the wound. I said men who care about body count are weak. But what I really meant was, please don't look too closely at me. He did. And he walked away. And now, no matter where I go, no matter who I meet, it feels like his friends' voices are still following me, whispering behind every smile, "She belongs to the streets." I built that reputation. And now, I'm the one who has to live in it.